I spent the first few years of training only noticing changes in my arms, so today I'm going to tell you how I took my chest from being flat to, well, having boobs. Because there's a couple of things that I think people really overlook that can seriously transform your chest growth, because you don't need a pigeon chest forever. But first, in usual fashion, we're going to do a little bit of a vlog because you need to hear more of me talking. Why not? So right now, got my pre-workout meal here. It's 4 rice cakes, 20 grams of jam, 25 grams of dark chocolate, and Himalayan pink salt with protein powder. So pretty simple, but it's the formula for a good workout. We're hitting upper today, so you're going to see my chest workout today, and I'm just going to talk you through it, and we're going to have a good time. So yeah, enjoy. So yes, we are absolutely going to talk about how I grew my chest, but I want to talk you through what I'm doing right now for this chest workout at the start. Then we'll get on to some things when I explain it for the rest of the workout. So starting off on this chest workout, we have pec deck. On this, I'm thinking about getting just maximum range of motion. This is really the thing where you don't go super heavy, you just focus on getting maximum range of motion. Now, I have changed my tune on this a little bit because you have to get maximum range of motion that your body allows. I kind of used to go for max ROM at all costs. I ended up just causing issues with my shoulders, pecs, so go as far as you comfortably can. You're thinking about bringing your elbows together, and you want to keep all your wrist, elbow and shoulder in line, and you can see I'm pushing. I'm a massive advocate now of not doing partial reps. Sometimes if you want to do it just to squeeze out extra volume, you can, but you can see I'm just forcing out the last rep. I'm just going to failure of full reps, because otherwise I just think the stimulus to fatigue just isn't there. Next up, we have incline press. This I'm doing in a neutral grip, and for incline chest, a lot of people get it wrong. They'll flare their elbows too much, and really they're just hitting mid-chest. What you want to do if you really want to target the upper is keep your elbows tucked in, because then what you'll do is you're bringing your elbow up and across. That's the way to really target your upper chest is. That's what I'm doing. Everything slow and controlled. No bouncing at the bottom of the rep. And as you can see, I push through. Is this the last rep? No, you can see for this last rep, I'm pushing all the way to failure for full reps. Yeah, there we go. Nice and controlled. And then finally we have a flat press. So we're hitting all angles here. Flat press. This is, I mean, this one's a lot more simple to get right. Basically we're just pushing up and down, but you can see here I'm making sure that my elbows are still tucked in, but they're under where my hand is. If you film and your elbow is not in line with your wrist, then you're going to have issues and you're not being efficient and probably not getting the most out of the movement. So again, that's what I'm doing with this. Keeping it nice and controlled, no like crazy bouncing, tempo on everything, and 2 sets of everything for chest. That's all you need. I think that's pretty good. Okay guys, so we're on to the juicy bit of the video, because I honestly have made some really fucking good gains with my chest, and it's something that I always thought just sucked on my physique, and it's still not a strong point for me, but it's definitely got much better. And if you have a really small chest, it doesn't need to stay that way. And actually I've written some notes here, so I'm gonna read off the notes because I want to make sure I cover everything. So the first thing, I want to make a good point of, your chest is probably small because you're not hitting it correctly. Genetics definitely come into it. You're never gonna well, like for me personally, I'm never gonna have Alex Eubanks' chest. Sometimes some people don't have to work so hard to grow something, and ultimately your insertions and just your composition of muscle fibers just means that sometimes you're not going to be able to get the look you ideally want, but you can 100% look better than you look today. So if you are finding that you just have no chest, you're probably not hitting it correctly. There's a couple of things that you want to do when you're hitting chest. You want to make sure that your like rib cage is expanded, and when you press, your shoulders aren't doing this, because that's a massive, like, that's a common mistake for a lot of new gym goers. I used to do it myself. You end up just pressing with your arms and shoulders. So basically your chest has very little stimulus. You also want to make sure that you're keeping tension on your chest throughout the whole movement. There's no resting or anything at the bottom and the top. And yeah, you should be able to feel a pump in your chest. If you're not feeling the pump, something's going wrong. Now, the next thing, this is huge. Pre-exhausting. It's actually good practice to do this for every muscle group, but for chest in particular, I found pre-exhausting very useful. So the way we do that is making sure you have a pump in your chest before you hit any working sets. So for me, I will do probably 3 warm-up sets on my first exercise before I actually go into a working set, because then once you've got blood in the muscle, it's much easier to feel the rest of the movements, because obviously when you've got some pressing movements, it's a compound movement, so sometimes your triceps are going to want to take over, but if your chest has loads of blood in it already, it's much easier to keep the tension on that muscle. Going into the next thing, I like to do an isolation before a pressing movement, and so I will start the session, as you saw, with pec deck rather than, say, bench press. We'll get onto bench press in a bit because that's a hot topic, but I like to start off with an isolation movement. So pec deck, dumbbell flies, cable flies, basically a fly movement. That's going to be your friend for chest. You could maybe do press ups because it's quite easy to isolate your chest on press ups, but any sort of isolation movement, so that when you go over to the compound movements, your chest is already pre-exhausted, you're already feeding the chest, so it's much easier to target it. The next thing is you want to make it a priority at the start of your session. You might accidentally do this already, but my upper body or push sessions always start with chest first, because that's the muscle I want to grow the most, and that's actually good practice for any muscle group. If you're doing, say, leg day and your hamstrings are lagging behind, start with hamstrings. Do the muscle groups that are lagging behind first. So on a push day, start with chest. Well, if you're doing a push day, you don't want to start with shoulders or triceps unless they're particularly weak, because they're just going to want to take over when you start doing the chest movement. So make sure you start with your weakest muscle group first. And the same can be said for like single arm stuff. You don't really do single arms, like you don't tend to do it as much on chest. If you're doing single arm rows for back, for example, you want to start on your weaker side. That's the logical thing to do. Next up, this is very common with guys who want to hit 100 kg or 225 for the first time pounds, because you're in such a rush to get there that you think, oh, I'm so close, I can just attempt this every week and I will get there. It's very easy to get caught in the trap of doing that, but the stimulus to fatigue ratio is just so out of whack for when you try and max out on bench press. You take out so much energy that will just mess you up for the rest of the session, let alone injuries. I mean, oh my god, the amount of bench press injuries I've had is actually not even funny. I haven't torn my pec, luckily, which I'm very lucky with, but just bench press is good. I do think people should do it, but in terms of maximum chest growth and in terms of like stimulus to fatigue, I don't know, like, let me know your thoughts in the comments about bench press, but I have done a lot of bench press in the past to grow my chest, and I will say it's pretty much impossible to have a good bench press with a small chest. So those things kind of go hand in hand, but yeah, bench press, definitely don't max out. Like about a month ago, I attempted 140 because I was so fucking close, and you can see the video on my Instagram. I was so fucking close, but I attempted it, and I basically, I don't know if I injured something, but my chest was pretty messed up, and it meant the rest of the session was a write-off. If you're having the same sort of thing, please don't max out on bench press, like, ever, pretty much. And in terms of frequency, now, some people will argue to go 3 times a week for chest. I think you can do that if you're very careful with volume. I would rather just see 2 chest sessions a week. Like, you don't need to be doing it like every day. I used to be on the frequency like wave. I think for stuff like arms and shoulders you can, because it's a smaller muscle group, it takes less time to recover. But for something like chest, I like to just 2 sessions a week and just destroy it, so that you can only do 2 sessions a week. Like for me, my sessions are Monday and Thursday. I could not add in an extra day. I do flies on Saturday as well, but that's only a new thing that I'm trying out. Before, yeah, I used to do it twice a week, and that is plenty. Like, you want to do as much volume as you can recover from, but 3 times a week for a big muscle, it's not always possible. And then finally, guys, this is something that it's a hard truth, but we just need to accept. If you have shit genetics, you're never gonna have an amazing chest. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. It's the same with any muscle group. If you have bad genetics, sometimes your ceiling of potential is just lower, and that's the unfortunate truth. The only thing you can do is work with what you've got and make the most out of a bad situation, which it's not bad. Like, come on, it's not like, who gives a shit? But if you've got bad genetics, if you've got bad insertions, you're never going to be able to fix that. But you've just got to try and work with what you've got. You can always make what you've got better. Don't try and look at someone else and think I want to look like them, because you're not. You're a different person. That's just the way life is. It's something that I've accepted because I want a fucking huge chest. Like, I want a bigger chest than what I've got, but it's never going to happen. So just accept what you've got and work with it. But yeah, anyway guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you have enjoyed. I hope you found this useful, because these are the things that I've used to grow my chest. Like I said to you, I used to have no chest. Now I have a decent one, and I have a big bench. So, you know, whatever. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed. There'll be a link below for my coaching and for my Instagram. Go and check out my Instagram, definitely, because I post a lot over there. Although I am posting more on here now. I'm committed. I'm going to be posting more on YouTube. You're going to see more of my face. Let me know if you found this useful, and let me know any ideas that you want me to record for future, like, helpful stuff. Anything you're struggling with, put it in the comments. Anyway, that's it from me. I'll see you in the next video.